Hey everyone, we are joined here today with actress Diane Franklin, who many of you know from horror films such as Amityville Horror II, The Possession, and Terravision, as well as non-horror films like Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. We're going to sit back and chat with her about these experiences with these films and so much more. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Hey, what's going on? This is Brandon.
This is Joshua.
And this is Dave, and you are now tuned into PVD Horror.
You are now tuned into PVD Horror.
Hi, this is Brad Greenquist from the original Pet Cemetery, and you are listening to PVD Horror.
Hey everybody, so we are joined here today with Diane Franklin. Diane, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
So, we have some horror films we wanted to discuss with you. Aside from the horror films, I also kind of wanted to touch on some of the 80s classics that you were a part of. So I figured we could talk about those first before we get into the nitty-gritty with, the horror films. So Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, Better Off Dead, and Last American Version are all films that you took part in that were kind of like coming-of-age films from the 80s. So, on our end, like we're people who grew up watching these films. So I just kind of wanted to ask you, what was it like being a part of them, like actually being in these films? And what are some of those films that you hold dear to you from that era of film?
Well, first of all, it is amazing to me that people are still watching these films. I have to bring that out because it's not a given. And again, look, when I did these films, there was no internet. I don't think there was even VHS originally. Like you couldn't even watch things. Then eventually you could watch them at home, and it was I went through the evolution of theater entertainment, of VHS, beta, DVD, Blu-ray, like that whole world. It's fascinating to me. And now the internet, that people can see what I've done and how fortunate I am as an actress to be able to live through that. Like, that's amazing. So first of all, thank you for watching those films. And those of you who know those films, thank you for watching those films too, because back then it was these were indie films, and they really meant a lot to me as an actress to do. And the other thing was, at the time I was as an actress, you were not someone who people didn't go to you for your name as an actress. They went to see a film. The film came first. The story came first. And to a certain extent, when you watch a film, if there's unknowns in it, like if you don't know the person, you believe the story even more. So when I was acting and I started with Last American Virgin, nobody knew who I was. And so they believed the story, and they get more engaged in the story. And I like that, like I didn't want people to know who I was. Essentially, I was like, I'm just believe my character. And then when I did Amityville too, that actually came out in the same year as Virgin. And that's the same thing. Like, I just wanted to be I was the girl in the story. So for that reason, I don't know if it's that, it seems a little different today, like when people start knowing who someone is, then they go in looking into their life, and the beauty of the story changes because you know too much about the person themselves, right? Like now I can do podcasts and I can talk about myself and I can say what's going on in my life. And but then it was like, you didn't do that. So I think it's fascinating to watch films. So when you say to me, I've done a lot of those films, certainly when I was going through it, I never realized that I was going to be iconic in the world of teen comedies and teen horror, and that I was going to be like the girl, the crush, the girl, whatever my identity was, the ingenue. I never saw myself go what I was. But at the same time, now as an adult, I look back and go, wow, I was the girl and, the guys fell in love with, or I broke their heart, or, so it's kind of interesting looking back at it.
That's awesome. So I find acting really fascinating, and I love talking to actors. And I find it fascinating that you went from commercials to, I don't want to say like huge budget. They were kind of underground films at the time, but they were big time films, at least to us, because we all say those top three. Everyone knows those movies. So what's the transition like as an actress going from here to there?
Well, that's a wonderful question. And I really appreciate you thinking about that and being thoughtful, because I usually talk about the films, but my acting experience is it is a fascinating life. My life is incredibly interesting, which I would not normally say, except for the fact that I thought as a kid that everybody went through what I did. And I learned later, oh my gosh, like not every actor did commercials or did soap opera, or did theater or did film or did voiceover. And as a young actress, here's what happened. I started when I was like 10. And when I was little, my goal was that I wanted to do every type of entertainment as an actress. I wanted to do voiceover, commercials, theater, film. Like I really thought that, and television and series. And the only thing I haven't done, I guess, has been a regular, like on a series, but I did recur on series. But so, I've got a bucket list thing. But I think what's interesting is that when I started, I always just thought that's, you go from job to job and like you do your work. And what got me, I started with modeling. And then what got me out of modeling was my height. I wasn't tall enough. So then I was like, okay, I'll do commercials. And then I did commercials, which commercials teach good technique. Like they teach you how to be in front of the camera. They teach you how to work with products. I think they teach you tremendous professional discipline. Okay. And you learn from doing commercials that it's not all about you. It's about the product. And it's also about learning to service the needs of others in the commercial. Like when you have to do it, you might have to, I remember eating Jell-O in a Jell-O commercial and having to, at 3:00 in the morning, we're still shooting it and it's my close up and I'm like spitting out, green Jell-O every 2 seconds and learning to accommodate others, which is, as a young person, when you're young, when you're a teenager, it's all about you. You're like, well, I don't want to do that. And I find that so fascinating. Like for me, because I wanted to act so badly, very early age, I was like, no, what do you need? And I'm going to help you. And that attitude really serviced me in life. Okay. That what's my job? You tell me what I need to do. And learning that sometimes on the fly, like not knowing how to do things and learning on the fly. I remember I did a hand modeling commercial. Hand modeling, like my hands aren't that great, but I had to hold a product. And I remember I had coffee and my hand was shaking. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even think about it, but that's part of that job, where if you do that, and I don't put, like, I know some people put things on pedestals and I don't do that. What I do is I feel like the more I do, the more I learn and more empathy I have for the world and more empathy I have for different jobs. And I learn, and then I have a better perspective. So that's why, like, when you ask me these questions, like I really do come from a place where not a lot of actors have gone. I didn't know that a lot of actors, some of them start with student films and they start maybe when they're, over 21. And I didn't know that was even a luxury. To me, that would have been a luxury to do that. I don't know. I just really felt like I had to start early and believe, and it wasn't my parents. It was me. I just loved performing and acting and experiencing so many different kinds of media. So sure. I know I go off on a tangent. I'll try to come back to the question. But what I did was when I did commercials, and then I did theater and soap opera. All that time when I was on a soap opera, As the World Turns, I was learning. And I always felt when I was younger that I had not learned what I needed to yet because I wasn't getting the big jobs. As an example, I auditioned for The Exorcist. Oh my gosh, The Exorcist. And I was probably 11 or 12. I did not know any of the curse words. I didn't know what they meant. Mother, beep and beep. Right? I had no idea what it was. But I auditioned for it. And Linda Blair was, I think, a little bit older than me. She was 13, I think, or something. And she got the part. I was in New York when I auditioned for it. Amazing, right? 12-year-old reading those lines, right? And I'm a very wholesome, innocent person in my core. But I do find it fun. That's what's fun about acting, is you're playing things that are not you. Yeah. To play somebody, that's like super fun. I remember on the soap opera, I played a girl who was, like the popular girl, the girl who would like hide her birth control pills in her shoes, her sneakers. She was like she knew everything. She was like my character, Lois Middleton. But in real life, I was so innocent. And the girl who I played opposite, who played the role of Betsy on the show, she was she played super duper innocent, but she had like a 21-year-old boyfriend and she was like 15. It was crazy. And I was like, whoa. Like, so that's what's so interesting about acting, is that it is a wonderful dance. And I do find it interesting when people are surprised, because when they look at my work, they go, oh my God, wait, Last American Virgin, you're the same person as Better Off Dead, as the same person as Bill and Ted. Like, to put that together is kind of crazy, but that's acting. That's, fun and talent. And, that's the love of it. That's the great part of it. So anyway, in answer to your question, yes, I started with commercials. So for the first about 10 years of my life, I had to straighten this curly hair, which is actual really curly hair, very straight, in order to get work, because curly hair was not in the social consciousness or the culture of America. So it was all like Marsha Brady, straight, beautiful, blonde, gorgeous hair. So anyway, so for 10 years, I just kept going and auditioning, and I kept thinking like, I guess I'm not good enough yet, but I kept learning and I didn't give up, and I would straighten my hair. And then lo and behold, and I even wrote a book about it. I have like a couple of books online if you look up Diane Franklin books, but my second book is about how I got Last American Virgin and how that really changed everything. And it started the curly hair craze of the 80s. And I went to the audition by total accident, did not straighten my hair, got the job. They wanted me to have curly hair, the dark curly hair in the film. And I played this dream girl. So all of a sudden, curly hair was portrayed in Last American Virgin as the guy's dream girl. And that was, I remember when I got it, I was like, what? Like, that is not what's happening. The curly haired girl would be the best friend, or she'd be the, mean girl. I don't know. Or just, she wouldn't be the mean girl. But it's just the goofy girl or the comedian, but she would not be the dream girl. She wouldn't be the girl that guys were pining over. So that was a very big step in film, because after that film, I got lead after lead because I had a look. It just is the right timing. Beginning of the 80s, it just hit. And it identified America with curly hair. Like, you think of the 80s, you think of Cyndi Lauper, and you think of the curly hair. And that film started it all. I went through those 10 years thinking I wasn't a good enough actress, and I took it like, I guess I'm just not good enough. I was, but actually what was fascinating is I learned all those years, which was actually a good thing. So when my success did come and I got opportunities, I knew what to do with it. And that's the funny part, is like, there's a lot of actors out there, a lot of people who are performers, they take it upon themselves, well, I guess it just wasn't, I wasn't good enough, but that's so not true. And from this, I have to say, you may be an actor and be ready for the world, but the world may not be ready for you. And that's why you have to hang on until it's your time. And I'm going to say that especially for performers today. So many actors are getting opportunities that 10 years ago would never have gotten. So you just have to hang in there and, I don't know, just get a side job, I guess, in the meantime. Just
stay
keep
busy,
doing it.
Something.
Yeah, stay busy and go back to school. But it's not you. And I want to tell people that, because it's really heartfelt. I mean, there's so many great actors who probably have given up acting because they just took it personally.
Sure.
So,
well,
anyway,
your curly hair has inspired me to grow out my curly hair. So,
yay! Okay, I love it.
We're curly together here.
Good.
And we got to get Brandon to grow out his curly hair too.
Yeah, I have to work
Brandon.
on it. It used to be curly.
I feel left out. I got pinch straight blonde hair. So,
it's
Josh,
beautiful,
get out of
though.
here.
You got to embrace it. Embrace your hair. Well, nowadays everything works, right?
Yeah.
You do. I see it. Audiences, his hair is beautiful. It's like shoulder length. It's gorgeous.
I definitely have a face for podcast.
He looks like homeless Fabio.
Now, I noticed you were on the TV show Providence that aired on NBC, which is based on Providence, Rhode Island, where we are from. Now, was it filmed in Rhode Island?
I think the exteriors were, they probably, they did originally they shot, the exteriors, certainly the opening credits or everything.
Okay.
But the actual show was shot in, I think we shot it. Hold on, let me think. I think Los Angeles. Yes, we did. We shot the shots here, and lovely group of actors on that show. And I played a blind woman, which was great. I never played someone blind. That's another thing. Like, you just never know. And I had a seeing dog. And so it was wonderful. It was great. So yeah. It was
too bad you couldn't come down to Rhode Island, experience all that we have.
Well, if I come for a convention, you guys, I'm hitting you up. So I'm gonna be forewarned.
Yeah, so that was like one thing that we always have to explain to people, because everyone will ask, what does PVD stand for? It's the abbreviation for Providence. So we just like to put that out there and plug it in so we can inform people that don't know what PVD stands for. Yeah. I thought that was cool when I had seen it, that I was like, Providence. Yeah, that show was on NBC before. So
I should know it. I wish that they had flown me out here, out to you guys, but another time.
It's a show that when I remember when that was out, we used to kind of be like all excited that there's a show about, our city, because we don't get a whole lot of like, people aren't talking about Rhode Island. So when that was out, we were like so excited, and then they were like not filming actually in Rhode Island. So.
Right. Well, it's interesting you say that. I also feel like, every place has an identity. And what I really like about shows, and like you said, you like Providence, is that we get to know people through TV shows, and in different states. And I like that, I remember I did Dallas the early years, and they did fly me down to Dallas to shoot it. And, it was just like you just learning these little microcosms all over the world of types of people. And I think it's great. It educates people and it makes you want to go there, travel, vacation.
I had a obsession with the Pacific Northwest from watching Twin Peaks. And forever that was like my dream home. Cause I just envisioned everyone being that quirky, and they kind of are over there actually. So it actually fulfilled every dream I had.
Right.
The Sopranos was based on some characters from Rhode Island, so we have that. That's really some good characters too. I love that show. That was really a good show. That's really all Rhode Island has.
Wow, characters.
But you were on another really good show. I get a lot of slack for liking the show, but I have seen every single episode, and you played that character, which is really weird because you were so mean as this character. And then, you hear you in real life and you're totally not like that. You were on Murder, She Wrote. And I am in love with Angela Lansbury. She can sing, she can dance, she can act. Bedknobs and Broomsticks was my favorite film.
Yeah,
I watched
good one.
Did you get the chance to meet her?
Yes, I did. And thank you for saying that. First of all, that was actually, I think, the first show that I ever got without auditioning, which is something I will have to say, people, that was a bizarre moment for me in my career. Like, wait, you don't want to meet me? Like, you don't want to see, you just are going to hire me? That was kind of crazy. But what was fun about it was to play such a arrogant, rich character. I had never done that before. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to let it go, let it fly. So I did meet her because she was in the a dinner scene. So, and she's lovely. She's just a lovely woman. You're right. She can do it all. And the other thing is being in the business for so long, like that's another thing, like that is so exciting. When you meet somebody, you go like your whole life, like you've done everything. What's that like? I'm not breaking your dream. She's awesome. She's wonderful.
Oh, that's cool. I never met anybody that met her. So I always wanted to know what she was like. So
she's also the sister of Edgar Lansbury, I think, who was a producer on a film I did called Summer Girl, where I played an evil babysitter, also another evil character. So they were related as well. So that's my other.
That's really awesome
connection. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask you one more TV related question before we dig into some of the movies. So you were also in an episode of Freddy's Nightmares, which is the often forgotten and underappreciated Nightmare on Elm Street series. So just wanted to know, what was this experience like for you? Did you get to, how was it like working with Robert Englund? And also like, on a personal level, I'm curious as to your thoughts of why that show never really lived up to the level of acceptance from fans that the films got.
All right. So first of all, Freddy's Nightmares. I'm going to just give this kind of piece of background too. By the way, people, I did Better Off Dead with Amanda Wyss, who was in Freddy's Nightmare, who played, oh God, what was her character's name? Oh, anyway, she was the girl who went in the room went upside down. So she was that character. All right. So that's like a kind of a cool side thing that I know Amanda from that. And I also became friends with Heather Langenkamp, who was the lead in that film. In the Freddy's Nightmares. She's wonderful. Awesome girl. And we still see each other at conventions.
Also curly hair.
BFF. Yes. And I've said to Heather, Heather, you just wound up getting into the horror genre. Like we all knew, like we never knew where we would all wind up. It really has to do with the director's vision on his film. So he, she got into the whole horror world and is seen as a horror icon because the director one day said, yeah, you're the one. And that's where your life goes. It could have been me. It could have been anybody, but like she was the girl chosen. But Heather's a great actress. She can do other things, not just horror, obviously. But I always say that, she's beautiful. She's actually a beautiful, beautiful woman, a girl too. Yeah. All right. So now back to the question. So I'm in Freddy's Nightmares. Okay. So first of all, I never met Robert Englund because he was in the interstitial sections. So they shot that on different days. So unfortunately, sadly, I did not get to meet him. I would have loved to. So Robert, we have to do something together someday. Okay, that's just a pointer. But I did think it was interesting. I originally thought it was I'll tell you why I think the fans did not embrace it as much is because it brought Robert Englund, but it didn't bring Heather. It didn't bring the entire cast. And I think that the audience would have embraced that. Once people see a film, it's like they have a vision of what they want it to be. And then if it turns into a TV show and they change it too much, like it's not the same thing. Hint, hint, Bill and Ted's Face the Music. But anyway, nudge, nudge. Did I say that? No, I never would say. Don't stop. Okay. But I think it's a little bit of a downer, for fans when they don't see we're raised with and, the characters and the people. I mean, if you saw Murder, She Wrote and it didn't have Angela Lansbury, I think you'd be kind of like, oh, really? It would be bring up a new audience for sure, but it definitely affects the old school. And I know I feel that way when I see people, replaced. I'm like, oh, I wish that they were in it just because, in my opinion, when you watch someone and if they're not brought back, it almost seems like a slap in the face to like, oh, well, I guess they're too old. I guess we don't embrace anybody. Once you get over a certain age, we don't embrace that person, anymore. Kind of. And I think it affects the viewer too, because they're like, well, wait, what about me? Like, wait a minute, hold on. Right. So I think it's a direct reflection. But anyway, in answer to your question, I did love doing the episode. It was a wild ride of an episode. If you see that episode, it's called The Bride Wore Red, you will flip out because I play this young woman who's like getting ready to get married. But then I have this nightmare and I turn into a child, but I'm a child adult. And that's pretty weird. And then I have this argument with my dad and a breakdown. And at the end, I almost saw my head off with a chainsaw. It's just crazy. It's just, but I remember doing it and going, and I worked so hard on that episode. It was like almost in every scene. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like this is like a feature film. There's so many scenes happening. So yes, I enjoyed it. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah. Josh, do you have that one on VHS?
Well, they only put the first 4 on VHS.
Oh, okay.
So it was really weird. They kind of went with the show. Like the first show was about Freddy, and then it went to different stories. Well,
you can watch it on YouTube. So if anybody wants
they're all
go on YouTube. I know YouTube has so much. They've got like a Summer Girl. I did a movie that I told you played the evil babysitter. That's on YouTube. So yeah, you can check it out.
We were talking earlier, and I just want to shout out, you were on your daughter's YouTube, and I just started a thing with my son on YouTube.
Oh.
How awesome. He has no idea, But I thought it was really cool that you went on your daughter's YouTube show. So
she asked me. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, no, Mom, you have to come. Like, we have to do this.
She's hilarious.
She was very
so
funny.
Yeah,
she's so funny. The thing with Olivia, I was just gonna say, is that I think she's beautiful, and I think the funny thing is that she's got to play down her looks in order to like get her comedy across. But she is so funny. If you're interested, Olivia De Laurentiis. And yes, we had the best time. And we actually have a couple of episodes that she hasn't edited yet, but they're still like, I mean, we had a a water drinking episode, and we went to the Dominican Republic, and we have that one. So she has a couple of them. Maybe someday she'll edit them and put them out. But thank you. She is hilarious, and she has a Snapchat show too. So, all right. Cool. But I want to hear your son. How old's your son?
He's 10. He's 10. It's really funny. We were watching magnet fishing videos, and he was like, "Dad, I really want to try this." So then I got a starter set, and now we're the magnet fishing family, and we do it at we just go around town and throw the magnet in the water. He loves it.
Wait, what do you do? You just catch things? Your
Metal.
Magnet catches things?
Yeah. You throw it in.
Send me the link to that because I would like to see that.
And we pull it out. Yeah. The first video we put up, we did everything wrong. We were on a train trestle, and I got the magnet stuck to the thing, and I almost fell in, and we got everything stuck. It was terrible.
That's entertaining. I think the mistakes are what makes it entertaining.
Just a side note, we can name this episode Diane Franklin interview, and then from there will be Where is Robert England? That'll be the side note. Where's Rob? Come on, Robert England. How about that?
Right. Where are you? Right. Sure.
We're asking for you.
Okay.
We'll put it
Good. I have to get in with Amanda, Amanda Wiss, I have to be like, Amanda, can you introduce me to Robert? So she's probably met him a billion zillion times. So, but
he was doing the convention circuit for a while, and his lines were always so long because he takes so much time to talk to everybody because he's like just the nicest guy.
Right. He asks
tons of questions and stuff. Yeah.
I am like that as well. When you come, it's definitely not quick because it's not fair. I don't think it's fair for people to spend their good money, come into a place, and then you sign it, and then you leave. But as you can see, I have big problems talking. I'm a little shy.
No, you're good. You're good. So I want to ask you. So obviously, your work span far beyond the horror genre. As far as your acting credits go, but it does seem like there's a pretty consistent return to the genre, especially we noticed some of your more recent projects, Amityville Murders. You have a movie that's in post-production called Waking Nightmare. Mm-hmm. So just kind of wanted to see, what is your affiliation with the genre? It seems like you have an appreciation for it.
Well, I think horror films, in general, I love horror films in general. I think they're fun and exciting and unpredictable. I also believe that it's really important to watch horror films because they teach you how to deal with the world. What would you do if you were in this situation? I'm not big on severe gore. I think the goriest I would go is The Exorcist, Amityville 2, the Possession, scary makeup. To me, that was my first horror film actually was The Exorcist. And at that time, that makeup and special effects was real because it was the first time they were actually showing people that kind of thing. So it really did feel scary and felt real. Today, people probably look at it and go, oh yeah, that's pea soup, right? Everyone knows too many details about it. But so on a pure level, I really love horror because there's so many types of horror and scary things. So I find it fun. And I like it, now also horror is very boutique. You can ghost horror, you can vampires, you can parody horror, you can there's just a lot of different types. So, personally, I watch Ghost Adventures and What We Do in the Shadows. Is that what we do?
Oh yeah. I love
that show. And I also love, I love The Invisible Man that just came out. I loved watching that. That was good. So, that's not gory, but it does give you an indication. I think it's cool to watch. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is I do so the reason why I do horror now, what brought me into it is because I was looking for bigger roles for older women. And that is not common usually in a general story, it's the mom or the token mom or the token aunt or something where you just see the person for a scene and then they disappear. So what I really liked about horror was it actually came out from my daughter. She was doing a lot of comedy and I was working with her doing comedy for her. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to do a nice dramatic piece? I'd love to sink my teeth into that. And then it sort of came upon, I just put the word out, that I really like horror, and people started to contact me and said, oh, I'd love for you to do these roles. So then it was oh my gosh, these are dramatic parts. So I don't take every part, that I've been, offered, but I do like the genre. So that's where Amityville Murders, I did that. I did Waking Nightmares, which is great. And I have another secret project I can't tell you about. Can't say the name.
Man.
It's going to come out, I think, in the spring, and you will know this name when you hear it. And it is really scary. I'm so excited. It's going to be a really big project. Once that comes, I'm just going to have to come back on your show and talk about it because I can't talk about it now. But there is something coming up that's going to be really big. So anyway, yes, in the world of horror.
I'm going in my mind of everything that it could be right now. It's not going to stop either.
Great. It's so great. Yeah,
check it out.
It's exciting. So, and again, like I would never ever have thought that I'd be working as much as I am, but it's because of the people who loved my work when they were younger. Now they're older, they're writing and directing, and people approach me and say, I've got a script and I'd love for you to be in it. That's like a gift. I have to say, like, that's just such an amazing thing that people can say, I want you to play this part because I wrote it and this is my baby, or, I really love it. And so I love indie films. The only thing now I'd like to do is I would like to also do, I've never done it, but I would like to do sort of like a Star Trek or that kind of, science, sci-fi kind of subject matter. I've only done like kind of one sci-fi sort of, which was Alfred Hitchcock Presents, but that's even horror genre kind of thing. But I would love to do that. So if you've got a script out there, sci-fi, Star Trek-y, call me.
Now, what was it like being able to reunite with Burt Young in another Amityville horror film?
I loved. Okay, that was, again, tears. Like when you see us in that scene together, that is just pure love. It is love. It is. We did Amityville 2: The Possession, and first of all, okay, so Burt seems like a scary guy, but he's the sweetest guy. He's the sweetest guy, right? So, when we did the movie, and it was so funny because when you're doing the film, obviously, you need to trust other actors. So you need to have a good relationship with them, because if you are afraid of them or something, I mean, you can't relax in the moment and do your stuff. Mm-hmm. So when we did Amityville: The Possession, oh my gosh, like we would get into the scenes and we would be totally present and really in the moment, give it our all. Everyone did. And I learned a lot from Burt too, like as an actress. I learned because it was the first time he and Ratanya and James Olsen were the first professional seasoned actors that I worked with at the time, to me, because they were obviously older. And I learned so much. And we would get into these scenes and then cut, and then we'd be laughing, or Burt would make a joke and we'd all be like, "Wah!" And then just like, okay, let's get the tone and let's start again. So we really I really learned a lot about the technique and being in the moment. And, also the director's job is to keep the tone. That's another thing the director was probably working to do while we were, kind of keeping it light between us. But he's a great guy. He's awesome. And when we did that scene in Amityville Murders, I mean, I couldn't believe, first they hired me to play Louise DeFeo in Amityville Murders. And if you don't know, Amityville: The Possession is the story of the actual murders that happened in 1974 with Ronnie DeFeo. A 23-year-old boy murdered his entire family. Unfortunately, sadly, I have to even say this, tragic thing happened in Amityville, in that house. And I think a lot of people are very confused about it. The house is in a weird way. It's like a bad feng shui on the property, and had Indian burial ground. And then this actual murder happened in 1974. And then they wrote Amityville Horror, not based on that, but based on the people who moved into the house afterwards, the Lutzes. So Amityville 2 is before Amityville Horror, and it was based on the true story. So most people think, oh, Amityville Horror is scary because people moved into a haunted house. But Amityville 2, The Possession, is actually scarier because it's based on a real murder, and that really happened. It was generally based on it. So when I was asked to do Amityville Murders, I know there's so many Amityvilles, there's probably like 20 Amityvilles, but way down so one's done in 1982. Years later, now in 2000, I think we did it in 2017, and it came out in 2019. I was asked by a writer-director who watched Amityville Possession, Daniel Ferens, when he was a kid. He was watching it at 12 years old, and it scared him so much that when he became an adult and became a producer-writer, he decided Amityville Murders was the first film he was going to direct, which was such a compliment. And he contacted me and said, I saw you in Amityville Possession. You scared the heck out of me. And now I'd like you to be in this film and play the mother this time, not the daughter. So I'm the first actress to ever play a daughter and a mother in the same story, right? Because usually it's, I mean, you've had Jamie Lee Curtis played her own character young and then older, but this is the first time I was able to play, you know, daughter and the mother. So I got different perspectives. I got different experiences offset, like crazy, creepy, weird stuff. If you buy the Blu-ray, it actually has the special features, and we're all talking about the weird stuff that happened while we were filming Amityville Murders.
Oh, cool.
So that's a really cool thing. And I didn't even know some of the things that the other people had experienced while we were shooting it. So yeah. So anyway, a very long answer to your question. Amityville Murders was a wonderful experience because when I worked on it, I didn't know Bert was hired right away. And then all of a sudden they went, oh, we want to bring Bert in as the grandfather. And I went, really? Like, oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. And I wanted to get Retanya in as well. I recommended her, but I think just logistics and time-wise, they couldn't get her from New York over to us. And it just wasn't going to happen. So I really tried to get that. But anyway, that was an amazing moment. So if you watch the film, know that that was really like you're going to see a lot of love and connection between us because we had a great experience working on Amityville.
So I actually I want to talk about Amityville Horror II, the Possession, a little bit. So, and I shared this with you earlier. I had just watched it for the first time, actually. Wow. Yeah, that was my first time, and I told you that was kind of like odd that I was able to contact you after watching that so close to my first time watching it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and the thing that really stood out to me is some of the taboo subject matter that takes place in that film. So we have domestic abuse, we have, themes of incest. And I was just wondering, as like a young actress at that time, how was that presented to you? And like, what were your thoughts going into the role? And what was it? Was there any like discussion of those themes after it was released and like, people saw it, and did that come back to you at all?
Well, first, I have to say that I'm really happy to hear that you enjoyed the film now. And I do think that those themes of obviously domestic abuse, but also the incest is something that we don't take lightly. And that film treated incest as if it was real, which I think another thing is not that common. You can still create a film that sticks with the world, that people still are shocked by, or they still want to see it, or they still want to pass it down because it does have valuable information. And I remember when I first got the script, I knew that I wanted to do a horror film. I had done Virgin. Virgin had not come out yet, and I got the script from Amityville, and I thought that it was. I really wanted to do horror. I knew that, and I wanted to work with people who I guess also were more professional, because Last American Virgin was the first film. We were all sort of in the same experience level. Some of us were new. I think Steve Anton, he had done one film with Jodie Foster. He was sort of like the guide of all of us because it was our first film. Kimmy Robertson, first film. Lawrence Monison, first film, mine. So when I got to Amityville, it was like, oh, okay. And when I went to audition for it, because I had just been starting out in the business, I really didn't think that I was going to get it right away. I thought, oh, I'm auditioning, and the agent went, well, just, we'll go and you'll do it. And so the first thing was I looked at the incest part, but I couldn't put it in my head, like what that was going to be. So I just knew that it was going to be handled well because of the people that were involved, and that's another thing. I think that if you have delicate subject matter, that's where a reputation is important. That's where real actors are important. No one wants to work on something that isn't done tastefully or well. All right. So I get the script, and when I did the incest, I personally like doing the scene. And by the way, there's more detail in my books. So look at my books on Amazon. But anyway, Diane Franklin, The Excellent Adventures of the Last American French Exchange Babe of the 80s. Okay. Just look up Diane Franklin book. Anyway, so So anyway, the experience of doing it, first of all, I didn't have a brother. So when I did the scene, it wasn't like I was saying, oh my gosh, like this is super creepy, because to me, I didn't have that relationship. And I think that if I did, maybe I would have been weirded out by it. Maybe I would have been like, I don't know. And also everything was put out before me, ahead of time. So there were no surprises. And that's a really important thing about being professional, is that, if you can't suddenly sneak up on somebody and go, hey, there's, going to be incest, or hey, there's going to be nudity. Like, we just decided that now. No, that's not going to be happening. These were like in contracts, and there was amount of what was specifically was going to be done, because it was handled so well. And I had a manager, an agent, and I'd been working for 10 years. I could trust the people I worked with. So I loved working with the director, Damiano Damiani, and I guess it just didn't, my main goal was that I could portray Patricia. And by the way, I was 20 when I did it. So if you see the film, you might look and go, oh my gosh, she's 15. What is she doing? But I was old enough to look at the subject matter and understand, like, this is a character and I need to play it with, like, I had to figure out how to justify doing all that in the film. And my justification was that I was so innocent that, this was sort of overwhelming me. The situation with my brother was just, it's a situation like, psychologically, if I told you that a total stranger was going to attack you, you'd know what to do. Like, you'd be fighting back. But if I told you that somebody you live with, you trust with all your heart, is going to do something aggressive to you, you in your brain are going to try to rationalize it. There's nothing, you are going in your head going, well, this is just once, or they didn't mean it, or I'm making believe this isn't happening. I mean, that's the thing I think that is a universal thread in any form of abuse. I mean, a lot of people would say, like, why do you let your husband hit you? Or why do you why do you hit your kids? Or like, why did you stand up for that? Or like tolerate it? And it's because I think that there's a connection where you think, I mean, it so betrays your trust. And that's really the truth, is when your trust is betrayed, your mind will try to fix it. So like, oh, guess this will never happen, or this was once, or I better keep the secret, because if I do, then, everything will be okay. I don't think people go into it with like, hey, things are going to be great. I don't think there's like I didn't see my character as being someone who was attracted to my brother, but I did see it as, that's why I played it so innocent. And then it was like, okay, well, let that devil, or let that possession be part of that, let that be up to the audience of what they thought.
Sure.
And I think that made my character more empathetic too. I think, like, one of the reasons why, like, I know Quentin Tarantino, supposedly it's his favorite film, that he loved that film. Not his favorite film all time, but he loved that film. And for him to love it, it means that it was, realistic enough, and it borders, it borders on reality. And then of course there's the first half of it is a more reality. And then the second half of the film it's like a exorcism part.
Yeah, it's a possession. That's the possession part.
You leave the house, you go to the exorcism. So that part of it is like, if you like horror, it's absolute horror. But the first part of it is horror in the real way. And I think that's why that film perhaps still holds up, because it's the reality of what really goes on in families and the world can be seen there. Oh, and then the last thing I just want to say is, so my goal playing that character, Patricia Montelli, was to be real, empathetic, and to be sensitive to those people who are going through, incest in real life. There are people and they hold on to that secret. And that's what the problem is. They need to let it out, because it is not their fault. And when I played that character, I was like, I have to justify, why would she do this? And to me at that age, I knew, like, it was freezing, and you don't want to believe it's true. You put your whole trust in it, and you don't want to make it real, and you don't fight back, because this is somebody who supposedly loves you, like love, right? So you love. Anyway, I think incest is very complicated, and people don't touch it a lot, that subject matter. But I'm glad that I did it for that film, because it really, I think, will open up discussion about that. So
watching that character, I thought that part of the reason why I was able to watch that relationship and not feel like that it was like, done poorly. There was like an innocence about your character. And I wonder if it's actually the innocence that may be actually you, because you said you even like there's an innocent side to you. And it felt such a genuine character. And it felt like the brother when he became, when he was like taken on by the evil possession, he became this like really like predatorial character, and he started to kind of prey on that innocence that your character had. So there was just something really like genuine about your character throughout that film. And I thought that dynamic with the brother, seeing your relationship before he was possessed as opposed to when he became possessed, took such a turn, but your character never changed. Mm-hmm. And it was always innocent, and it was always like, the scene where the mother catches her at the steps and it's like, what did you do? And you could just see she knew she did something wrong, but she had to keep it in because she loved her brother. Yeah. It was really well done.
And protecting the brother too, that's what people do in those situations. Yes. They protect their family members. And also I think, obviously when the brother comes, to her, like touches her or whatever, it's confusing. She is confused. And in a perfect world, you'd be like, why did you just run away from him? But that's not the real world. The real world isn't like that. You come up to a situation. The first thing most people feel is if they've been hurt or abused or thing is they feel confusion, and they sit in the confusion. But what we want as an audience is for them to go tell somebody, like go say something, Mm-hmm. So if you are listening and something's happened to you, get that burden off your shoulders, share it with people, find somebody you trust. Don't carry it around the rest of your life. It isn't worth it. I'm telling you, it isn't worth it. Don't protect people, protect yourself, So I really strongly believe that. Yeah. It's not easy, but you know what? Running around or living your life with a secret like that isn't easy, and it's worse. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, like Dave said, this was his first time seeing this film a couple weeks ago. Myself and Josh, we had seen this film a long time ago, and so we were able to just go back and just rewatch the film and then just see how it holds up still to this day, like we were talking about now, and able to have conversations, and that's the thing with horror. You're able to just go back and just see like a film made in the 80s and reflect on the times then, and then like it's still going on like now, and things still hold up. And so that's one thing that we appreciate about horror films.
Thank you. And by the way, if you have, now that you've seen Amityville Possession, you should see Amityville Murders. It is not, to me, Amityville Murders is more of a drama, but it is very cool to see there's some repeat shots. Yeah. It's just interesting. And I loved Amityville Murders because, obviously we got Burt Young back again, but I felt it was one of the best acting jobs I did. Although obviously the stuff in the 80s as a young teenager or young woman doing roles, I love those roles. But as an adult, it was like I really got to experience some really good acting challenges. It's a great movie. I highly recommend Amityville Murders. It's like you can access on Stars or I don't know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm in the trailer or whatever. So yeah.
Now I know we talked about it already, how you played the daughter and then the mother. But how does it feel to be the only actress to be murdered twice as a different character in the same film scene?
Yes, I applaud that. Yes, I've been murdered in the same story twice. How as a different people. I have to tell you, hilarious. Okay, so when we shot the second death, not possession. Possession, I was straight off you don't see me dead, actually. In the first one, I die, but you hear a gunshot, but you never see me. Yeah. So that was, I think, the first Amityville Murders was, I think, the first movie I've ever was murdered in. I think it is. I think it's the first time I've ever been dead. Wow, I just realized that. Thank you for pointing that out. And I was actually really excited because that was the first time. I remember thinking, oh my gosh. So I was like smiling. They're like, I've got blood all over me. And they're like, Diane, stop it. Just, you're dead, right? I'm like, oh, can you take a picture? Because this is really cool. No, stop it. Can you just be dead? Drop the crucifix and just die, right? So it was so fun. Yeah, see, I'm a kid at heart, and I appreciate the magic of movies. I really appreciate it. And I can get myself in the zone and I can totally commit, but that's what fuels me is
Yeah.
the magic of those films. And horror films, my gosh, there's special effects and oh my gosh, the green screen and like just the way they can make a story through the special effects and everything. It's fascinating. So yeah, Amityville Murders, I did die and you get to see me. And I died first. I'm spoiler. But that's kind of good because you don't want to see it drawn out with the mom, right? And everybody, and I remember like my family when we went to see the movie, they're like, "Mom, I can't watch you die again." I'm like, "Okay, don't worry, it's like it. Okay, fine. Don't, you don't have to watch it." Okay, so yeah, there's sometimes you have kids who like, or my husband, no, I don't want to see you die again. Great, yeah, okay, fine.
Now that I know you die first, that's it. I don't want to watch it.
Right. Darn it. But you don't know if I come back to life. So there you go.
Oh, geez.
You never know.
All right. So we're going to shift gears a little bit away from Amityville. And we want to get into a little beloved film of ours, Terravision. Yes. So this is a film that's currently it's held in like a cult horror classic status, I would say. And it clearly doesn't take itself too seriously. Can you tell us what that experience was like filming that bizarre movie and like how it was received back in 1986 as opposed to how it's kind of received now, like, which I think, like I said, is more in that cult status?
Oh my gosh, I am so excited that you brought up Terravision. I love Terravision. I have always loved that film. First of all, being cast, I mean, I was the ingenue. Being cast as a Cyndi Lauper kind of, oh my God, like with the voice and the, metal jacket and like a punky kind of person. You'd never cast me as that. How did that even happen? Thank goodness for Ted Nicolau, who directed and wrote the film. Just like Better Off Dead, I worked with writer-directors. Love that. Like Daniel Farrens, Savage Steve Holland, and Ted Nicolau all were writer-directors. And when you have a writer-director, they envision what they want, and then they can direct it to the way they want it. So I'm a big fan of writer-directors. They get their message across better. I don't know. I just love that. So anyway, Terravision. Okay, so I love the film because when I read the script, I thought it was hilarious. It was the 86, I think it was 1986. It didn't come out till 87, but we knew Mary Warnoff, Garrett Graham, Jonathan Grice, we all knew it was a parody of the 80s, but it was being made in the 80s. So that was the problem. The problem was we thought it was hilarious making, kind of joke of the, workout clothes and the, Cyndi Lauper hair. And we all thought that was hilarious. But the audience didn't get the joke because it came out in the 80s. It would be like, if you tried to make fun of something that's happening now and people don't quite think it's funny yet, they go, well, wait a minute. No, I do wear that to work out. So, what? Why is that funny? Yeah. And I really think that this is what's really interesting about films. So when a film comes out, it could be very contemporary, but I believe that every place, every like state is in a different time period. Like some people are still in the country are still in the 20s and some are in the 50s and some live in the 60s and like because what happens with entertainment is it comes out, but it might not come out everywhere. And so by the time someone gets it, it's like, they're just discovering that kind of new medium. I mean, at least it used to be like that. Now with the internet, perhaps it's changed. Sure. Now, perhaps everybody knows everything in time. But we didn't before. So when that film came out, Terravision, it wasn't contemporary. People didn't get the joke. And also, by the way, humor is regional. Like you play a comedy in America and it's funny, but maybe not funny in England or Australia. Sure. Except when you fall down and then everybody laughs. If you fall down, the world laughs. So Terravision needed time to bake. It needed time to simmer in the soup over years and years and years for people to finally look at it and go, that is hilarious. Okay. The film, it's like, it goes very slowly. You can play it like in the background of you're watching something else. It's a very cool film to be able to be, you're like hanging out with the date and like relaxed, or you have a party going on, you can play it. It doesn't go very fast, right? But it is fascinating to watch. And we used a real monster. It was covered with goo and the goo kept melting off the monster. we actually shot it in Rome, but you'd never guess. We shot it in Italy in a studio, and we'd have to turn the air conditioner off every time we shot because that way you don't hear the machines running. So we'd all be sweating, and the monster would sweat. I'd be sweating with my costume. Jonathan Grice is sweating. We're all like, and then turn the air conditioning on, do a cut, and then we're like, it was a blast to shoot. People were really fun, but it was the old school filmmaking with a monster, which is not green screened anymore. Now you look at in space and you have a reaction, but that was real. So I really enjoy that film, and I'm very happy when I hear people know it and love it because the characters are hilarious. And also, by the way, when it first came out, people thought we were being sincere. So now people know, oh no, this is like a live action cartoon. We get that. We've seen that kind of acting in things. It's stylized and we understand it. But at that time when it came out in 1987, people didn't know. They just thought, oh, that's bad acting. They didn't realize it's stylized, which is a lot of films, some great films they're over the top because that's the style.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like Terravision.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite films.
Oh my god!
Now, is it true that it was taken out of the theaters 4 days after its release?
Oh, I didn't know that, but I heard that poor Ted brought his parents to see the movie, and they liked it, but they didn't. I don't think they understood it, or I think that was the problem. Like people didn't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, was it really 4 days? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what I had heard. So I was just checking to see and confirming with you and seeing like how that would affect you.
Well, I'm glad you told me because now no wonder I didn't hear a lot about it. I didn't hear a lot of things from, when it came out. So, and again, this is so interesting. In the 80s, you did a film, most likely, if you actually completed the film, it would hit theaters, most likely. Whereas today, very few films hit, well, now COVID, doesn't hit at all, but there's so many films that it's not every film makes it, and they go like sometimes direct to video. But at that time, you weren't sure if a film was completed pretty much at some point. People made the effort, got it done. It pretty much was shown. So that's another thing about the 80s and today, so different.
Yeah, you might appreciate. I actually posted a post about that film. I think it was last year. I did it. I always liked it. And I just happened to make a post about it, and a bunch of people started messaging me saying how good it was, and they loved it. And I was like, wait a minute, people know about this film? So it's still, that was last year. And when Dave said that you were coming on, I was like, oh, I was pretty
Susie
excited.
Pitterman. Yeah. Oh gosh.
So as soon as we're done, I'm gonna text all my friends, all 5 of them, and tell them how.
You've got more friends than that. Come on. But yeah, no, pass the word. Like, here's the thing. Also, like, that's why I wrote a book. My first book is I wrote because I was like, people don't know who I am. Okay, someday, if they care, I'm going to write this book. So actually I wrote a book, and then I sold it, like it was like one-on-one kind of thing, and I sold out. So it was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to publish this book. So I published it. But in the first book, I have a whole chapter on Terravision, and I have pictures, which is really cool. And my second book, even though that's more on Virgin, that's the first one's called The Excellent Adventures. The second book is The Excellent Curls.
Yes.
So that's more on Virgin, but I do have some Terravision pictures in that too. And awesome. I'm going to be writing a third book, and the third book I'm writing right now, which hopefully will be out this year. I didn't want it to come out in 2020. It was that year, not good. Yeah. But it is about Better Off Dead. So if you're a Better Off Dead fan, tell people to connect with me on social media for that too. So tell them to go to Diane Franklin 80 on Twitter, and actress Diane Franklin on Instagram. And Facebook, I can't even, because Facebook is like, I have a Facebook and it's full, but just find me on Facebook. I don't know. just go there.
Thanks for bringing up the books. As you can see, I'm sitting in my library. I love to read.
You'll love these. My books are boutique. They're like, if they'll take you back in time. They are, I have to say, they're made with love. And so I think I've gotten really great reviews because it's just going down memory lane. So
have you set up a Goodreads account?
I haven't, but somebody on Goodreads did it.
Ooh,
or say, People have reviewed it.
We're done. Yeah, the more than happy to read your books. It's funny, my brother just gave me this book the other day, the Robert Englund books, and you were just talking.
Oh my gosh!
And I pulled it off the shelf because he just gave it to me like 2 days ago. So I'm thrilled. I'll definitely now. I didn't know you wrote books.
I see. That's why I'm bringing it up in a podcast, because again, like, it's all word of mouth for me. Like, I don't. If you follow me and you know who I am, I go, okay, I have a book, by the way, and buy them on Amazon. And by the way, anybody who buys my books, if we wind up doing conventions again and you come see me at a convention, I'll sign it for free. Okay. So just letting you know, this is very nice. So, but yeah, you can, and I will sign it as Monique, right? With a French accent.
You did a short film, and I thought it was really cool. I don't know if it came out this year. I don't usually watch short films where I catch a couple here and there. And you did one where a girl had pyrotelekinesis.
That's the one I couldn't remember. Okay. Yes, I just did it.
Fire Nebula.
Thank you. That was the one I was trying to remember. Yes. Okay. So first of all, I like helping new directors, writers. Like, to me, like, my daughter is filmmaker. She's on, okay, I'm going to be the mom now. Watch Apocalypse Goals on Snapchat. Okay. Watch that series. That's my daughter. And she's hilarious. Writer, director, actress with a comedy partner. Hilarious. Okay. Enough said. She's done. Just check it out. Check out her stuff. You'll die. All right. She's also on TikTok now, doing TikTok stuff under Sid and Olivia. But anyway, let's move on. So, but because of her, I really understood, how hard it is to be a filmmaker, and, you really need the support, and you need people to believe in you. So I have had different filmmakers approach me with their scripts, and he came to me and he said, I have this idea of this fire starter, and I'd like you to, come and do a part. And it was during COVID, which is crazy because, obviously we're all going, I don't want to die. I really just don't want to die. But I thought, okay, well, if there's enough safety provisions, then we can make this happen. So he was dutiful, awesome, great director, and made it comfortable for me. And, I have another film to tell you about. This is very funny. So that was a short film, but I love the idea of a fire starter. Like, that, to me, that subject matter is such a great idea. Like, I want that to be a series. I want to be on a fire starter show, right? I just love the idea of people, that world,
With Robert Englund. You got to have Robert Englund on that show.
Yes, that would be great. That would be great, right? You can see it would be perfect. And also, speaking of films, I also did another film, which is called Clay Zombies. And let me tell you, I have always wanted to do a zombie film. See, here I am, all the different kinds of worlds I want to be.
Yeah.
And a filmmaker approached me with it. It's coming out this year. And we shot this at the beginning of COVID. So I did a bunch of scenes and I had to shoot it and send it to the director. We worked on it between. Fascinating. So his name is Jake Jolly. So anyway, that's going to come out as well. And I'm excited because it's Clay Zombies, but it's live action with claymation zombies. How good is that?
Cool.
So
okay. Awesome.
So that was all voiceover then?
Now that's the funny part. I actually had to shoot scenes where I was and send it to him back east. Now that's pretty crazy. So you're going to see, but the idea is that I'm on a TV or on a show. So it worked. But still, that was he had actually worked in the film, shot the film before, and he asked me to do this sort of cameo character. So it worked perfectly. But again, if you told me that, not everybody is able or willing to shoot their own stuff. And I was like, you know what? I think I can make this happen. So that's a really fun character. Wait till you see this. Yeah, I play a really cool character.
Can't wait to check it out.
Yeah. You'll always see different kinds of characters from me. That's the fun part, I think, of with my work, is that I love surprising people.
Yeah,
right.
That's awesome. So, Diane, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for asking. I love meeting all you guys. And I'm just so happy to be part of your show. And thank you for taking the chance to contact me and contact me later. So we'll talk about this other scary film.
I cannot wait to hear what this is going to be. So, everyone, as Diane mentioned, you can check out all of the social media. Make sure you check out Amazon for her books. And we will keep a very close ear out for what this special project is that we have to look forward to coming up. So that's going to be this year. We're going to find out about this.
Yeah, for sure. This year.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Right.
So Diane, once again, thanks for joining us. And,
Thank you. Merci buckets. Au revoir. And be most excellent. I'll take you back in time.
Yes.
Stay excellent, everyone.
Yep. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and have a great night.
Party on. No, wait. So you have
Just
to
think
give
of
me
Ben
your...
Affleck or something, or Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting.
Well, you know, it's I'm like
No R's.
I'm thinking no R's. So it's like that's kind of like it's like Kennedy, like kind of like talking, like sitting in my car. I was watching on my phone, and I don't know. I got to think about it. So now you got me in it. Now you got me in that head. I'm telling you, if I ever play somebody, I'm going to contact you guys. But yeah, there's no Oz that talk like that. It's probably based Irish. Is there a lot of Irish?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Or-
yeah.
That's because they you know, Irish is talking like that. So
Exactly
you know,
what it is.
so if you're coming from a place that's that way, you know, you're kind of used to having a broad kind of a thing going. Yeah.
We
So-
have in Rhode Island. We have some parts of Rhode Island. You kind of hear some of that accent.
Talk in the
here,
car?
but-
Rhode Island, we say blinka, and you know, one side of the pop.
Wait, say it again. Wait, Rhode Island, you say what?
Blinka.
Blinka? As what?
Use your blinker.